Welcome to another story made by Oracle One. In the bustling heart of Chang'an, the capital city of the Tang Dynasty, where lanterns flickered like stars against the obsidian sky, and the air was thick with the scent of jasmine and ink, lived a courtesan whose beauty and intellect captivated emperors and scholars alike. Her name was Mei Ling, and in a world where whispers could shift the tides of power, she held a secret so delicate, so perilous, it was etched onto the fabric of a single red silk fan. Chang'an in the year 742 was an empire at its zenith. Streets hummed with merchants from distant lands. The sound of horse hooves mingled with poetry recitals beneath ancient pines, and the imperial palace loomed like a golden dragon at the city's center. It was an age where art and warfare danced hand in hand, where loyalty and betrayal were sometimes only distinguished by a whispered word or the flutter of a fan. Mei Ling had long ago learned to wield hers like a sword hidden beneath blossoms. Her home was a grand tea-house nestled within the flower pavilion district, a place where silk hung like autumn leaves, where the air was perfumed by sandalwood and rosewood incense. It was said that Mei Ling was the most enchanting courtesan in all Chang'an, not only for her raven black hair and eyes like onyx orbs but for her wit and the depth of her knowledge. She was a scholar in her own right, well-read in prose, philosophy, and the intricate dance of politics. On a spring evening, when the moon hung low and heavy over the city, Mei Ling prepared to receive a most important guest. The silk fan she bore that night was dyed in the richest crimson, embroidered with peonies that seemed to bloom eternally. The fan itself was a masterpiece, a rare gift from a foreign envoy, but it bore a secret only Mei Ling and a select few could discern. Hidden within the folds of the silk were the minuscule, nearly invisible patterns, glyphs and symbols woven by an ancient code passed down by her mentor, a former palace attendant who had taken a fall from grace. Tonight's visitor was Lu Wei, a counselor of notable rank within the imperial administration. His reputation was as sharp as his piercing eyes, and though he outwardly adhered to the rituals of courtly decorum, within the walls of the tea-house, he shed his official garb for the cloak of secrecy. Mei Ling had met him months before, during the Lantern Festival, when photographs of lanterns depicted dragons spiraling towards the stars, but now their interactions bore heavier weight. As Lu Wei entered the tea-house, the soft chime of jade bracelets announced his arrival. Mei Ling rose to greet him, her crimson fan held gracefully in one hand. "Counselor Lu," she intoned, her voice a sultry melody. "The night has never been kinder." He offered a measured smile, seating himself across from her at the lacquered table adorned with cherry blossom engravings. The tea-house's golden lanterns cast warm halos over their faces, and outside, the city continued its restless course, unaware of the quiet undercurrents flowing through its veins. Mei Ling poured 2 cups of jasmine tea, the steam rising like ephemeral spirits from the porcelain rims. "I trust the council has found new measures to safeguard our borders?" she asked, watching him over the lip of her cup. Lu Wei's eyes flickered briefly toward the crimson fan resting beside her, its edges slightly lifted to catch the faintest breeze. "There are whispers," he replied cautiously, "of unrest in the western provinces. The generals seek to expand the military presence, but the emperor hesitates, wary of the cost." Her fingers brushed the edge of her fan, the silk cool beneath her touch. With a subtle, practiced motion, she unfolded it just enough to reveal a pattern of peony petals that, to the untrained eye, were merely decorative but in truth bore a coded map of troop movements and secret alliances. The language was complex, a blend of ancient scripts and pictographs mimicking floral arrangements. It was a method designed to evade spies whose eyes searched too eagerly but whose understanding was shallow. Lu Wei's gaze sharpened as he traced the semblance of patterns on the silk. "These markings," he breathed, They signaled the Eastern Battalion's deployment is scheduled earlier than the decree states. Have we been misled? Mei Ling nodded, her expression grave. The court is divided. Not all who serve wear their loyalty openly. Some seek to manipulate war for personal gain. She leaned closer, voice dropping to a whisper. The eunuch faction grows bolder, exploiting the emperor's trust to silence dissenters. The subtle exchange could mean life or death. Mei Ling was acutely aware that a single misstep could brand her a traitor, a conspirator to be executed or vanquished in the shadows. Yet she remained resolute. For her, the silk fan was more than an instrument of seduction. It was a vessel of truth, a lifeline weaving through the treacheries of court. In the days that followed, their encounters became more frequent. Each meeting brought new data, discreetly embroidered onto the fan's surface. Mei Ling's artistry grew finer, her ability to convey complex intelligence through floral symphony unmatched. The peonies, lilies, chrysanthemums, they all whispered secrets of shifting alliances, bribes exchanged beneath lantern light, and the true allegiances of powerful figures cloaked in imperial robes. Behind the tranquility of the tea-house, political machinations churned. The emperor, Emperor Xuanzong, beloved by the people for his patronage of arts and culture, was increasingly distracted by his own indulgences, including the famed Yang Guifei, whose influence over him was both an enchantment and a source of courtly suspicion. Mei Ling had once danced before the emperor, and though fate had tethered her to a different sphere, she understood the fragility of the imperial balance. A single wrong move could unravel the fabric of the dynasty. The silk fan was her silent rebellion, a commitment to preserve the harmony that was slipping through the cracks of indulgence and ambition. One evening, as amber light spilled through carved window lattices, Mei Ling received a letter sealed with an unfamiliar insignia. The subtle scent of sandalwood hinted at its origin, an envoy from the lord of a neighboring province, a region bristling with military power and restless nights. The letter was a warning, a planned coup that threatened to engulf Chang'an in chaos. Mei Ling knew she had to act swiftly. She wove the intelligence onto the crimson silk fan that now bore an intricate pattern of lotus blossoms and bamboo, a message that translated to alert, betrayal imminent, rally faithful. The fan was a tapestry of coded urgency, a delicate alarm. She met Lu Wei under the veil of midnight in the secluded jade garden, where moonlit ponds reflected the silvered blossoms. As readers of the fan's secret language, they understood the stakes. The political unrest was no longer a distant murmur but a roaring flame. By daybreak, Lu Wei slipped into the imperial council chambers with Mei Ling's silk fan concealed within his sleeve. The council, initially incredulous, was forced to confront the evidence as more loyalists revealed signs of unrest matching the warnings embroidered in delicate petals. Swift action followed. Loyal troops were mobilized, conspirators imprisoned before they could strike. Mei Ling's role remained veiled. Her reputation as a mere courtesan protected her, the perfect disguise for a woman whose movements shaped empires through threads and whispers. The red silk fan, once a simple accessory to captivate, had become the carrier of Chang'an's fate. Yet, her sacrifices were profound. The knowledge she harbored isolated her, a solitary figure in a world of opulence masked by treachery. Relationships were fragile, friendships were tested. Some regarded her with suspicion, others with awe, but Mei Ling kept her counsel like a master calligrapher guarding an unbreakable seal. Months later, as the blossoms of spring gave way to summer's warmth, the emperor honored Mei Ling with a subtle token, a petition inscribed with words of gratitude, veiled as poetic compliment. The red silk fan, carefully preserved, was returned to her, an unspoken acknowledgement of the invisible hand that steadied the throne. In the twilight of a lifetime marked by both allure and danger, Mei Ling often reflected on the power hidden within the folds of fine silk. Her legacy was not etched on grand monuments or in bold decrees but in the silent fluttering of a crimson fan, a testament to a woman who used beauty as a shield and intelligence as a sword. Chang'an continued to thrive, its streets ringing with the songs of traders, poets, and revolutionaries. Yet in quiet chambers where secrets spoke louder than proclamations, the red silk fan remained, a symbol of courage and cunning. Amid the shifting shadows of the Tang Dynasty. For more stories, like and subscribe.